Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. This is a channel dedicated specifically for personal finance, investing and financial freedom. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the first of those three major topics, that is personal finance. And what I really want to share with you is 5 tips around how to manage your finances better that will set you on the path of becoming financially independent. I've come to the conclusion that many people actually don't necessarily know how to best manage their finances. You may be lucky, maybe you've gotten some extremely good advice from your parents. They were very good with money and they kind of like passed this down to you, this particular knowledge. But what I find is that many people would be getting some random advice from friends, from people at work, maybe even bad advice from their parents. You know, if your parents are not very good with money, you're bound to kind of inherit these bad habits and not managing your money properly. So right off the bat, I want to start with the very first tip that I want to share today, and that is educating yourself about personal finance. And this is, I believe, the fact that you're watching this video. This is the very first step that you're taking in the right direction, because let's face it, the reality is we don't really learn this information in school. We don't study in university. You don't study it in economics class either. So what you have to do is proactively seek out that information. And my advice is not to listen necessarily to friends, even family, random people at work. They may be super smart, but my advice is pick up a book on personal finance and read it. Maybe you don't need to read all of it. Read a couple of chapters, see the kinds of content that you have. If it's too complex, pick up a different book or listen to an audiobook. I mean, you can do, I don't know, all kinds of things. Maybe you subscribe to a channel like this one and listen to a specialized YouTube channel on personal finance. Those are better strategies for you to be ultimately better off with managing your money than listening to a friend or random person or coworker at work. My second tip is actually probably the most important tip and the most important habit that you want to develop, and that is to start saving. And when I say start saving, I mean is save with every single one of your paycheck, whether that's bi-monthly or you get a monthly salary. Get in the habit of putting money aside every paycheck that you get. As soon as you get the money, as soon as you get paid, usually a good rule of thumb is 10% of your paycheck, put it aside and put it into a savings account. Because what most people do actually is as soon as they get their paycheck, they would spend money on the things that they want, things that they need, or they would pay the bills and then spend some money going out, buy some new clothes, what have you. And what ends up happening is that by the end of the month or by the time they get to their next paycheck, there is no money left. And they're basically saying, well, I can't save any money because I've spent it all on all the things that I need or things that I had to. So I'm not earning enough to be saving. That's totally wrong. I'm sorry to be the kind of like the messenger of the bad news here, but if you're one of those people, you're approaching this in a very wrong way. Again, what you should be doing is once you get your paycheck, you want to set some money aside immediately as soon as you get it. And usually it works best if you have some sort of automatic transfer to a chunk of your money to a separate account. So as soon as your money is getting wired to your checking account as you're getting paid, you don't see that amount that you're setting aside with every paycheck. That's the best thing that you can do. If you're not able to do it because you really are not earning enough yet, I urge you start saving, I don't know, $10 a paycheck, $100, $1,000, a small amount. It's important to form that habit to do it as soon as you get your paycheck, and then gradually you can increase that amount of money that you can be putting aside. This particular tip ties to my next good habit that I like to suggest to you, and that is having a budget. And in order for you to have a budget, I also urge you to start tracking your expenses. Spend the effort to track every single expense that you're doing during this month. Whether that is spending money on groceries, spending money on things like clothes, buying new stuff, or I don't know, eating out, entertainment, it doesn't matter. What I recommend is that you record every single expenditure that you have for that particular month. Open up an Excel file, record it in Excel, and then what that's going to help you at the end of this particular month, where you're tracking those expenses, is you really would be understanding where your money is going. And I guarantee you, you will be surprised that maybe you're spending too much money on eating out. Maybe you're going to restaurants too often and you're spending way more than you thought you are. And it's going to help you look at your spending habits in a different way. It's going to give you that big picture so you're able to make a judgment of where you can prioritize your spending in the future. So once you become familiar of your spending habits, then what you can do is, with every paycheck that you get, after you've put some money aside into savings, with the remainder of the money, you can say, well, with this kind of money, I have some firm expenses such as rent or mortgage, utilities, what have you. But then the rest of that money you need to be budgeting into things that you don't need to survive, but you kind of need in order to kind of get by day to day. So that's maybe you need some new clothes, maybe you need some, I don't know, some new items in your, in your living room, what have you. But you can budget your spending for the next month. And if you ended up spending way more for, eating outside in restaurants in the past months when you were tracking it, then you can say, okay, this month I'm going to limit myself to $100 a month. Maybe that's even less. Maybe say, okay, this month I want to see if I can get by without going to restaurants at all. Maybe, you cook a lot more at home, or I don't know, go visit your parents if you have that ability. The next tip I want to give you about money is think long term. And what I mean by that is oftentimes as soon as we get paid, we have something on our mind, or we see something in the store and we're urged to go ahead and buy it. What I'd like to kind of suggest to you is think about the idea of delaying gratitude, or delaying that urge to buy something in this very moment. And the way you can do that is, again, restricting yourself from doing it and doing emotional buys, emotional purchases. But you can think about it this way. Think about, okay, how much time have I thought about buying this particular item? And did I really have enough time to allow myself basically to justify the spending? Let me give you a concrete example. The new iPhone drops out, let's say tomorrow. You see it in the Apple Store, it looks very slick, you love it, you want to buy it. How long have you been thinking about buying this new iPhone? Is it just because it just dropped, or you happened to be in the Apple Store and you saw it and you liked the way it felt in your hand, it looked good, it's amazing screen, all that good stuff. But are you allowing yourself enough time to digest and think about whether you should buy this item or not? Maybe not. Maybe you can try, think about it, maybe sleep over it, don't buy it right there and then. Sleep over it. Maybe you give yourself a week. Maybe you give yourself a month. Maybe you give yourself 6 months. Guess what? Even if you wait 6 months, that may seem a long time, but what would happen if you don't buy it in the next, couple weeks, couple months? What would happen? You will still be using your current phone. You can still get by. You can still survive. Nothing's going to happen if you don't buy the brand new iPhone that just launched. But in fact, what may happen is you may realize that one, the phone that you currently have is good enough, it meets all of your needs. Two, you may realize that the new iPhone is too expensive to spend this money right then and there. Three, if you in fact end up buying it 6 months down the road, it may have become cheaper, or you may have hit the Thanksgiving sales, on Black Friday, whatever the case is, or some Christmas sales where maybe it wasn't $1,000, but it's, let's say, I don't know, $950 or $900, whatever the case is. But in either way, delaying gratitude, it's only gonna benefit you. That's my personal opinion. So my suggestion is try it out. It may help you. And long term, what I've actually also have another tip for you, kind of like a non-conventional thing. I forgot where I read this, but it really has helped me in my own kind of day-to-day purchasing decisions. And that is understanding and really giving a thought about how much an item that I want costs and how much I make an hour, or how much I make a week or a month. And that is to say, comparing if that item is especially a little bit expensive, whether it's something that you can justify buying on the spur of the moment, or you can say, wait, well, to buy this new iPhone, let's say it's $1,000 iPhone, in order for me to make $1,000, it takes me about a week or two, or maybe a month. So before making such a big decision, what I really encourage you to think about, okay, if it takes me a month to make this money, then I better take a month to think about purchasing this particular item. It's unfair to myself to do impulse purchases and to spend money that it takes me either several weeks to make or several days. And for some people, that works really well. That's all they need. They need some sort of a justification, a formula, a tactic that's gonna help them, keeping their credit card in their wallet and not flashing it to buy every little new thing that they see out there in the store. Those are my 5 tips. I really believe those will be helpful to you. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be putting a lot of videos like that in this fashion, talking about these topics to hopefully help you reach your financial freedom. Until next time, my name is Kurt, and I'll talk to you soon.